Part 159. Exposing the Insincere. On their way back to Medina, a number of incidents occurred which exposed certain people as hypocrites. Most of the hypocrites remained behind out of cowardice and laziness, but some of them attended but were exposed, which was the purpose of the expedition, to differentiate the true believers from the insincere. On the way back to Medina, the army ran out of water again. The Prophet made dua for rain, and it rained throughout the night. Some of the hypocrites denied the miracle, instead attributing the rain to the blessings of a particular star. The next morning, the Prophet announced to the people, quoting Allah, "Allah said, 'Some of my servants woke up this morning believing in me, and some of my servants rejected me. As for those who said that rain has fallen because of my mercy and grace, they are believers in me and rejectors in the stars. And as for those who said that rain has fallen because of the stars, then they are believers in the stars and rejectors of me.'" This incident highlights the perils of believing in omens unrelated to Islam, as the Prophet identified it as disbelief. As they camped for rest, the Prophet's camel wandered and was lost, and a hypocrite blasphemed,
"This is a man who thinks he is a prophet and tells you that revelation comes from the heavens, and he doesn't even know where his camel is."
A companion from the same regiment as the hypocrite was with the Prophet when he said, "Some of you have said such and such, and by Allah I am a human, and I only know what Allah tells me. Allah has just told me that my camel is stuck in such and such valley, and its harness was caught in a tree." The companions retrieved the camel, which was in the exact location described, and the companion next to the Prophet returned to his tent on the other side of the army and relayed the story. He realized that the hypocrite in question was in his own tent, so he expelled him, declaring him an enemy of Allah. On yet another occasion, some hypocrites were laughing and jesting, and one remarked,
"This man, that is the Prophet, actually thinks that he will conquer Rome and Persia with all of their fortresses. How will that happen?"
Another even said,
"These people around us recite the Quran, but are cowardly, dishonest, and fat."
Indeed, the forthcoming capitulation of the Persian Empire and the dissection of the Roman Empire at the hands of the Muslims in such a short space of time was nothing short of a miracle by every definition of the word. Historians struggle to explain the turn of events that followed the death of the Prophet, particularly the rapid expansion of the Islamic world. One would therefore require true iman to have believed the Prophet's predictions. A companion overheard these remarks, and he scolded them,
"You have lied, O enemy of Allah. I will tell the Prophet of what you have said."
He then raced towards the Prophet to relay their blasphemous jokes. As he raced forward, the Prophet was already receiving revelation. The hypocrite in question also grew worried and began galloping towards the Prophet. As the companion reached the Prophet, he was already reciting the Quran that had just been revealed.
The hypocrites fear that a surah should be revealed about them, exposing what is in their hearts. Say, "Keep mocking. Allah will bring to light what you fear." Surah 9, verse 64.
The hypocrite reached the Prophet and jumped off his horse. As he tried to blurt out his excuse, the Quran already quoted him before he managed to vocalize his excuses.
If you question them, they will certainly say, "We were only talking idly and joking around." Say, "Was it Allah, His revelations and His messenger that you ridiculed?" Make no excuses. You have disbelieved after your belief. Surah 9, verses 65 to 66.
The companion narrated,
"I saw the hypocrite running behind the Prophet's camel, holding onto its stirrup as he was dragged behind it, and the Prophet would not even look at him. He just repeated the verse, 'Make no excuses. You have disbelieved after your belief.'" Surah 9, verse 66.
A short while later, some hypocrites also scoffed,
"If Islam is really true, then we are more misguided than donkeys."
When the news reached the Prophet and they were questioned, they vehemently rejected the accusation and even swore by Allah. These events culminated in a bizarre assassination attempt. The Prophet's camel wandered towards a cliff, and over a dozen masked men charged towards the Prophet on horseback. The Prophet swiftly evaded them and navigated down the valley. He then said to Ammar ibn Yasir, "Do you know who they were? They were of the hypocrites, and they wanted to push me off the cliff." The hypocrites quickly fled, and they were never identified. Allah then addressed both events.
They swear by Allah that they never said anything blasphemous, while they did in fact utter blasphemy, lost their faith after accepting Islam, and plotted what they could not carry out. It is only through resentment that they pay Allah and His Messenger back for enriching them out of His bounty. If they repent, it will be better for them, but if they turn away, Allah will torment them with a painful punishment in this world and the hereafter, and they will have no one on earth to protect or help them. Surah 9, verse 72.